looked around for a ranch and found one out in Florence, 12 miles, I think, over hill and dale, two of them, two hills, and a railroad track onto Fiddle Creek, and that's in 1923. We had a pet deer that we'd raised. We called her Beauty, and we had to make a crate. Beauty had to go with us. We put her in a crate and put her on the railroad going north, and soon got there and took her by boat then, or the wagon. They could drive down to the station, and we came. They went ahead, Dad and George, with the cattle, and drove those went by ferry across the Umpqua River, and drove them over the hill from Gardner into 5 Mile, a long, tedious way, and then they had the hired man that they had on the ranch to meet them up there and get them on the ranch. Then they came back home and brought us back about the second or third day, and the deer went too. So we went by boat up this Fiddle Creek off of the lake. See, the station, Ada Station, was a little store that lived, and they had gas there too, and they were on the lake, and that's still there. And then we had to go up this windy creek up to the post office, Martin's home. It was a farm, and parked the car, the boat there, and had a wagon, took us on, and the deer, and went on up to the ranch about, what, 2 miles, I'd say, up this windy dirt road to our place, up Bear Creek. And we went through the house and went upstairs and claimed our bedrooms. There were 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms in the bathroom with a toilet and bathtub upstairs. So, and there was linoleum on there, red linoleum that would fade when you'd mop it, but it wore like iron. You never had a tear in it or anything. He paid $16,000 for, I think it was. And times were tough then, and got bad, and they were worried. Came a kind of depression, and I remember taking a payment to the Gilpatricks had moved down to the Ada station by the railroad track, and the railroad had these big yellow painted storage buildings. Well, for some reason they did away with it, and he bought that house. That big storage, made a nice house out of it, Gilpatrick did, and they lived there. But I remember having to take the payment, a letter and a payment. Dad was asking him if he paid cash for the rest of he owed about $3,000, I think, and he couldn't afford more, and it was more, 5 or something. And he asked Gil if he paid him that, could paid it all up instead of monthly, and so Gil did. And Dad maybe got the loan from the bank, I don't know by then, but Dad, he was very frugal and he was wise. He got the job to furnish telephone poles for the county between Florence and that area. They had to be renewed, and those were all Dad's timber. We had a lot of cedar up there, and he cut cedar poles, dead cedar. You could see the snags when he'd milk. We'd look through the windows, milk the cow, and look up in the hill and see those snags, old white snags here and there. There were a lot of them in those days, but they all disappeared.
Now, what about the story when he had to go get that guy that died? You told me the story, but it's quieter now.
He'd been a hired man for them, and the hired man worked for Dad, but in the winter he had to let him go, and they were poor. They were relatives of the Walker tribe, because they were a big family up there. And even the Mileses were related. But anyhow, the man, can't say his name now. I know it too. And because his nephew I know, and I give him hugs because it's from the old days that we were, connected, and from my family. But anyhow, his uncle went up on a blowy winter day to work alone up in this. He was doing some logging because Dad had to let him go. And Mom just felt so bad because she felt like they should have kept him on, but there was not work in the winter months for him. But this man was cutting timber up there alone, and a tree fell on him. So here they came and called Dad. He had a pack horse, and Dad had kind of made a name for him anyhow for being, strong and able. Maybe the rest were older people or didn't have a pack horse or something. So he had to haul him out, and on a rainy, wet day.